Dianne Feinstein still has a couple of years left in the Senate. She's not running for re-election, but she's still technically there. Sorry, I mean, she's still technically in her seat. She is not technically there. She actually was regrettably hospitalized in early March for shingles and has remained in her San Francisco home since March 7th. So it's about 5 weeks now. During that time has missed 60 votes of the 82 that have been taken in the Senate so far in 2023. So has not been able to participate in those votes. Now, this happens from time to time, but we need to take stock of how significant her absence actually is right now, including making it far more difficult for judges to be pushed through the Senate. This is one of the most important things that the Senate does, particularly in a time where they can't pass legislation thanks to the Republicans controlling the House, but they can't actually do it right now. Senator Durbin says, I can't consider nominees in these circumstances because a tie vote is a losing vote in committee. We still have some nominees left on the calendar that we can work on, but we have more in the wings that we would like to process through the committee. So there's some that have already gotten through the committee process. Those could potentially be voted on, although again, her absence might potentially jeopardize that. Others can't even move forward. Delays have already prevented 10 nominees from going through and getting a vote. That is 10 potential judges at a variety of levels across the country that are not in their position and are at risk of never entering into their position because Dianne Feinstein is still not here. And she has given no indication that the continuing health problems, let alone the long-standing concerns about mental health, are gonna lead to her resigning from her position. So they're about to come back into term, the Senate. So will we have votes on these in a week, in a month, in 6? I have no idea, and they're not giving any specifics. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of it sucks because no matter which side of the aisle some of these politicians are on, as they get older or maybe something happens. Look, I mean, Mitch McConnell, I don't know if he's still in the hospital or still at home after that fall. It's devastating for many of these folks that go through any kind of health issues via maybe shingles or a fall or mental health, anything like that. As people start to have their issues, then it kind of sucks once they aren't able to be there. And it results in things like this happening because you want to hold on to your power, your prestige, your standing in society, whatever it is, the reasons people do this, they lose sight of the whole fact and the reasons why they went there in the first place, which is to represent people. And then you're their voice. You hear what they say, you stand for the things that they stand for. It's pretty straightforward. But eventually, I guess, even when it's been this long, you eventually start thinking about, this is my seat. This is my position. I'm Dianne Feinstein. I'm, Mitch McConnell. I'm supposed to be this standard forever, at least until I die. So anything else that happens in the meantime, who cares? This is about me. Yeah. It always comes back to that for some reason. It doesn't have to be vicious. It doesn't have to be like you're out to get other folks, but you have to see the results of this type of action or this type of decision to be like, no, I'm holding on to it. What are you losing, bro? Chill out, go relax, chill on the porch. I would love to.
I think it's just defiance. It's just knee jerk, no. I leave when I want to. You can't make me, even if it would be really beneficial. We've had other examples of that in the Supreme Court, I'll say, in recent years that have been very consequential. These people all consider themselves to be the most important person in the world. And they are not gonna have, some minor little group like, I don't know, the vast majority of her constituents who think she needs to move on, tell her what to do. And I'm not like, it's not like it was just the shingles thing. If you're hospitalized and you can't vote, I understand that happens from time to time. Fetterman took time in a facility to deal with a health problem. I'm not getting on Feinstein for a health problem. I'm getting her for filling a spot that she should not have been in for literally years. And everyone knows, her staff knows, her colleagues know. Like we can have debates about exactly when people aren't necessarily able to serve in their position. She is way past any of that. Where we might draw the line somewhere differently, she's past any of these lines. And this is not just consequential for legislation. We're talking about some long-term appointments, including potentially lifetime appointments that might go the other way, that can have huge ramifications across a wide range of issues because of this. She's gonna be in her position until January 2025.
Wow.
And I will remind you, by the way, like you might think, well, okay, but there's no Supreme Court positions that are up right now. So is it really that important? Well, I will remind you that just last week, a Trump-appointed federal judge in Texas ruled that the FDA didn't have the authority to approve medicine abortion, the pill, potentially jeopardizing access to millions of people who've relied on it for decades to safely end pregnancies. That was just some federal judge. Now, thankfully, it's been complicated by a different judge and it'll go to the Supreme Court, but one judge can have an incredible amount of power, let alone 10, let alone dozens. And Biden has been fairly successful thus far in getting judges through. He's confirmed, I think, 118. That might be a little bit outdated. His pace has been good, certainly better than Obama's was. But we need to keep that going. You can't just grind that to the halt for a year and a half because Feinstein, doesn't want to admit that it's time to move on. Any final thoughts?
It's tiring, but again, what you'll see is when Trump's in office, when any of these Republicans get in office, it's a freeway of passing through all these judges because they know. Back to Mitch McConnell, he said it openly. The most important thing is to appoint certain judges that will rule in our direction. Nothing about the law, nothing about actual judicial process that will rule our way. They're hell bent on it and they're laser focused. So when things like this happen, it just shifts it more.
Yeah, I just Gavin Newsom could put by the way, if she did retire, he would put someone in that I would not like or certainly wouldn't have picked. I'm not saying that her retiring is, hey, it's great, it's a party, it's a solution to all of our problems. Hey, California's progressive. It wouldn't be. We would have other issues to deal with. But at least then we could deal with that. We could have a serious conversation. Right now, you can't converse with her because she ain't around.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.